I was in 7th grade. There was a project I was working on with a classmate, and this year I'd gone to a different school. I was away from the people I knew. I was away from Lily. I wasn't trying to make friends, but I thought for this project I should at least try to be civilized. I remember it was going to be a big chunk of our final grade. Most of the grading percentages went toward participation and creativity. I've never been a creative person. I think it's admirable to anyone who has an active imagination like that, but I never have. Science has always been for me, where I can actually see the facts for myself. Of course, I only had a small inkling of that back then. We had to make our projects in class, trying to make the solar system, paying special attention to the design of each planet and the moons that go with them. I remember I wanted to get the color scheme of each one just right. I spent a lot of time on the project, not only because I wanted to get a good grade, but because I was honestly enjoying myself. My partner had other ideas in mind. I had been labeled as the smart kid, so it seemed all he wanted to do was slack off. He was picking fun at some of the other groups around us, about how badly their planets looked and so on. Kid stuff. The teacher had been called out of the classroom for a minute. I don't remember why. She was only gone for a few minutes, but apparently it was enough time for something bad to happen. It always seems to turn out like that. I can remember that there was another kid in the class that was similar to me. He was really shy. Not that I was really ever shy, I just prefer the quiet. There's a difference. I knew that he at least wanted to be a bit more active in making friends, while I was perfectly content without them. I missed my own too much at that point to seek replacements for them. My partner was getting more aggressive. I suppose his teasing wasn't getting the reaction that he wanted. It just so happened that he walked over to that kid and stepped right down on the Saturn he was working on, and it was instantly crushed. I can remember that everyone just froze. Even my partner seemed surprised. The sound of the crunch had been so loud that I guess it even startled him to a degree. Then he started laughing, and that shy little kid was pushed too far. Before any of us knew it was happening, that kid jumped onto my partner, and fists were flying everywhere. Naturally, chaos erupted, but my classmates weren't doing anything to try to stop the fighting. If anything, a lot of them were trying to encourage it. So I set my stuff down and went over to try to calm things down. Pulling the shy kid away was difficult, but eventually he was so worn out that I was able to separate them. By happenstance, the teacher walked in at that moment. Judging from our faces, it wasn't hard for her to figure out that something was wrong. She demanded we tell her, but no one was talking. My partner was too busy wailing to pay much attention. I don't know what possessed me, but I picked up a small can of black paint and dumped it over my partner's head. I took the blame, saying that he had damaged my project. I got 2 weeks of detention because of that, and I can remember my parents' reactions when they found out. They got called to the principal's office to discuss my worrying and violent behavior toward other students. For a long time I wondered what had possessed me. I had never taken up for another person like that, except for Lily. And it's not as if the act made my relationship with the shy boy any better. He never even thanked me for covering for him, not that that's what I had been looking for. A few weeks later, it didn't matter. I was taken out of the school. My father said it was too good for me. I didn't want to argue with him. At least it got me back to the same school as Lily. I don't like bullies. I never have. Most of the time I tend to just put myself out of the situation entirely. They usually deflate if you ignore them for long enough. That's all they're really baiting you for anyway, is some kind of physical reaction out of you. A little flinch or a glare, and that's it. They feel like they've won, and that they're better than you because of it. Most of the time, I'm against fighting back. But I guess if I've been pushed far enough, or even if it's under the right circumstances, like that shy boy, then I'll take him on. I don't know whether or not to be proud of that.